I know my future is, but it'll never be our past. Even distance in your world will never ever change the past. Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of GVN Live. I am Fight Club Hubs, and with me is Jan and Mark. And this is the Season 4 finale of GVN Live before we go off to winter break. And it's just a year-end recap. We're just going to keep it loose. We're going to keep it, free form. We're just going to have a little bit of fun this episode. No bullshit included, unless, somebody wants to bring up some bullshit. And
Well, I'm pretty sure we're full of bullshit around here, aren't we?
yeah, I mean...
I thought that was kind of like our thing, was just bullshit, but that's fine.
Well, it's all about the bullshit, but sometimes we need a break from the bullshit.
That's true.
Yep. So, anyway, we have been having some talks. We started, so we are in the planning phases of the GVN Live Awards, which is usually the premiere show of the new season, which usually begins around, I guess, end of January or whenever we decide that we want to come back. Me and Mark last week had a blast playing Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris on GVN Live Plays, which was an interesting cooperative game. Mark, what was your thoughts on it for the hour and a half that you got to play?
It was fine.
There you have it.
Oh, good, huh?
Hey, it was fine. Take it, Jan.
I generally do. That's perfectly fine by me.
Yep. So, looking back at the year 2019, closing the decade, if you will, I would have to say 2019 turned out to be a rather strong year for gaming. We had some quality remakes. We had a lot of Kickstarter and Indiegogo games released in this year. Some controversies that we're just going to, completely ignore about this night. Some interesting developments in regards to third-party console manufacturers like the Polymega and the Atari VCS, as well as the Amico. All around, really, it's just been about the games and just how solid it's been. In terms of the big three, Nintendo's been making waves with, pretty much just releasing solid titles, getting what they can out for the Switch. Microsoft, locking down on reminding us that their next console, Scarlet, is coming out, but they are providing us with services like their next cloud service. Their ability to try and get Xbox Live on all platforms, and Sony just constantly hitting it out of the ballpark with all these exclusives that they just keep locking down. So, to start off with the games, Mark, how did you feel about 2019 in general for gaming?
I felt like, I can't remember 100% of them off the top of my head, but I feel like it's going to be pretty easy to put together a top 10 list of games that I enjoyed, that I was happy to have played this year, as just so many great games came out this year. Resident Evil 2, again, Code Vein, Slay the Spire, The Outer Worlds.
That was a great one.
The Outer Wilds, though that one did not particularly resonate with me. I know a lot of people really like that game. Just Pokemon Sword and Shield. A lot of what's that?
I have not picked up Pokemon yet. I'm very iffy, especially since Sun and Moon left an taste in my mouth.
I had not planned on it, and then just like everybody else I knew was getting it, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I haven't played one in so long. Let me pick it up. Let me give it a shot, and it was, it's a Pokemon game.
Yeah. Now, was there anything noticeable to you that stood out? Like for me, I played the first couple of Pokemon games. I got the first couple of GBA games, and then I skipped like the next 3 games in the franchise: Black and White 1 and 2, whatever was that came out somewhere in between those two. The first Pokemon game I played in a long time was X and Y, and that game was leaps and bounds better than previous games in the series. I would say it was as good as Gold and Silver. It was one of my favorite games, and it was easily in my top 10 for games released of that year. Sun and Moon, just it was bogged down by really bad story and just horrible pacing. That's why I just couldn't tolerate the game that much. And I don't know about Sword and Shield, so what was your thoughts going into it? Did anything stand out to you like X and Y did for me?
It definitely feels like a modern Nintendo RPG,
For sure.
which is not necessarily what I wanted a Pokemon game to be. Like, I was okay with Xenoblade 2 from the time that I spent with it, but like it just kind of sort of feels like tacking some MMO elements onto a single player game. It's fine, but it's just not necessarily what I want from this kind of game, if that makes sense. And Pokemon kind of borrows those elements and puts them together in the game. I don't hate it, but it's definitely not what I expected from a Pokemon game in general, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like it's not the direction I expected them to evolve the franchise in. I don't hate it. I'm enjoying it for what it is, and I haven't played it like a lot, but from what I've played of it, it's enjoyable and amusing.
Sure.
But I need to put more time in with it before I can really decide how I feel about it as far as that goes.
All right. Anything else stood out for you on, like, let's say, other platforms like Microsoft? You said Outer Worlds you've been a big fan of. You actually said, I believe, it's contender for a Game of the Year.
Probably going to be my game of the year. I have to think about it a little bit more. Just be like, I have to feel like how it sits with me now that I've completed it. Because there was a lot of shit that I played this year that, like, I'm just going through the list of games that came out in 2019. And I'm just, like, remembering, like, so many games that I played that I was like, oh, yeah, I had fun with this. Oh, yeah, I had fun with this. It's definitely on the short list along with Resident Evil 2. And maybe Slay the Spire. There's others. I have to really think about that because, like, I remembered God Eater 3 came out, and it's like, oh yeah, I really like God Eater 3.
That's a good one.
So it's I have to think about it a bit. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I enjoyed, and there's other games that came out that I wanted to play, and I just haven't had a chance to yet. Like, Devil May Cry 5 is sitting on my hard drive right now on my Xbox One. I want to play it. I just haven't yet.
Sure.
Crackdown 3 came out this year. That's sitting on my hard drive. I haven't played that yet.
Rage 2 came out.
That's sitting on my hard drive. I played 20 minutes of it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think that, what I took away from it was going to, make me want to go back to it. Like, I'm not bouncing up and down at the idea of continuing to play it, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's also kind of interesting to me because it's like, I know I played games that I hated this year, but, like, I just don't care about them.
It's probably because you hated them.
No, it's like normally, if I play a shitty game and I hate it and I think it sucks, it's like, oh man, I played this shitty game and I hated it and it sucks. And, it's just like this year, it's just like, I played terrible games, like games that just like outright fucking sucked a dick. And not in like the good way, not in the way that you would want to suck a dick. It's like,
oh yeah, for sure.
It's like Tyrion penis.
Ugh.
I
I think we've all
What?
agreed that Turian penises are scaly and difficult to deal with.
Don't want it.
Hey,
No.
you want to go ahead
Listen,
and
there are
imagine
people who
what
want to
is
fuck Garrus, and I'm not shaming them. I'm just saying, get some lotion.
Not me. We good though.
I don't want to fuck Garrus.
Nah.
I'm just not into men though. Like if I were into men, I'd give it a maybe. I'd give it a maybe. But yeah, I played Yick, Y2K, a postmodern RPG. It sucked and I hated it. I played Anthem. God, that was fucking depressing.
And you had high hopes for that too. When you
Oh, I
went
had
into it.
extremely high hopes for that. Yo,
Oh, yeah,
I
same.
blame Twitch streamer White Shadow for that one 100%. I know he's not watching right now because he's doing his own stream, but he was the one that hyped me up on that after I was like, this game is going to suck. I know it's going to suck. I don't want to fucking play it. He was like, no, man, it's great. It's fucking awesome. And I was like, maybe it will be good. And then I signed up for EA's whatever pass service to try it out, and man, that game is just such a fucking dumper. Ugh, just a fucking poor BioWare. My God.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're at least attempting to try to restart it, but I don't know that it's gonna be like they're not gonna get the same, they're not gonna get the same mileage out of a reboot like Final Fantasy 14 did with A Realm Reborn. Like I don't feel like it's gonna have the same oomph that it needs to.
I don't think it's going to get even the incremental increases in terms of like just getting better as a game, like Elder Scrolls Online did either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Fate Extella Link came out this year. I forgot about that. That game was a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I didn't play Sekiro, and I'm not going to play Sekiro.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's like I played fucking Remnant, and I like that game, and I hate that game, and it's just like that's as much as I want to deal with.
Sure.
But oh yeah, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid came out. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That is a super quality fighting game for what it's worth.
People keep talking about it, all my friends in the FGC, and I'm just like,
it's great.
Maybe
it's great.
I'll take the bite plunge.
It's cheap. It's cheap, and it's definitely worth paying. Yeah,
it's on Steam.
Yeah, it very much feels like a Marvel type fighting game. I feel like a couple of the characters are broken. Like Kimberly feels disgustingly broken, which is not great. But but I mean, like, it's amusing, and I enjoyed it.
Take that back. Kimberly is untouchable, motherfucker.
Nah,
That's literally what I'm saying.
Yes. She is
literally and figuratively. She should and shall remain untouchable.
I mean, fair.
Like I feel like if we were to play this on stream, she would have to be banned. Like she just feels broken. Like I played her and I was like, wow, this character is extremely like she has moves that punish, damage and block, and push her away. So like she has moves that are incredibly fucking safe.
Uh-huh.
And like not many of the characters have that. And it's just like, oh. Okay.
Like, oh.
But yeah, so there's just been a lot of shit that came out this year. Like I think it is legitimately going to be difficult for me to put together a definitive top 10 based on what I've played so far this year, which is the first time that has happened in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Jan? What kind of games, how did you feel about gaming in 2019?
Wow. I mean, all right, so I'm just going to go down the list of what I played that I just, like, 2019 was fantastic from start to finish. There obviously were some misses, like with Anthem and with...
Oh, fucking Bloodstained. Completely fucking forgot about Bloodstained.
Yeah.
God damn.
Bloodstained came out too. But yeah, no, there's a couple of misses that I'm kind of upset about. Tropico 6 had some issues. I know that obviously Anthem had its problems. Darksiders Genesis, like, people forgot that even existed, and there's good reason. But then there was
Genesis?
Yeah.
Well, Genesis came out last year.
No, it came out this year.
Darksiders 3 came out last year, I thought.
Yeah, Darksiders 3 came out last year. Darksiders Genesis came out.
Yeah, I don't even know what Darksiders Genesis is.
It's It's kind of like it's an isometric Diablo style Darksiders game.
Mm.
It got good reviews. It's just people fucking forgot about it. No one remember that exists.
Oh, there we go. Candidate for a game people forgot about.
Yeah, probably. But if I look at the list of games that came out this year that like fucking just took the fucking cake, and just everyone's talking about, especially just in the last couple of months, you've got Resident Evil 2 remake, you got Sekiro, Borderlands 3, Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Kingdom Hearts 3, Mortal Kombat 11, Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Speaking of
Phoenix-
Fallen Order, that's a game that really came out of left field.
I mean, we knew it was
Yeah.
coming. But
We knew it was coming, but we didn't know how big of an impact it was going to have right away. I mean, people were clamoring and angry about EA's statement of, oh, nobody wants to play solo player or single player Star Wars games, and then this game just literally blew up on release.
Yeah,
Man, I did not know an Attack on Titan sequel came out this year.
Actually, I didn't even know there was a sequel coming out. That's shocking.
Well, the game.
Yeah, for the game.
Yeah, it was a game.
Yeah, they released it this year. I did not know.
Yes, and season 3 ended earlier this year too.
I don't watch that fucking shit.
It ain't shit, but that's fine. You keep your opinion.
I have problems with the fact that guy is a weird nationalist, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, no worries.
90% of fucking Japan is nationalist, but whatever.
Like, he has actual characters in there that are dressed up like fucking the Japanese from World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Nazis. I'm sorry. I know what you're going for. That's super not cool, dude. Eat my entire goddamn ass. Not you, him.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I got you.
I just wanted to be clear. Not Robert, the guy that made this.
Right. Let's see what else is on the list. Gears 5. That was pretty fun.
We had a lot of huge high-profile games.
Heat.
Mm.
The new Need for Speed Heat came out. That's actually pretty fun. I've been enjoying that too.
A kill fighting game came out?
Yeah, Kill If.
Why did I not hear about that?
There's Grand Blue Versus.
Did it actually come out?
Nope, it comes out next year. February February of 2020.
That's right. The demo dropped for it. It was like a timed demo.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have Bloodstained, Super Mario Maker 2 came out, Crackdown 3, Iceborne hit for PS4 and is coming out in January for PC. We've also got little smaller games that a lot of people didn't really think about that also got some pretty amazing reviews. Total War 3 Kingdoms, Untitled Goose Game, which was just ridiculous.
I need to play that at some point.
It is
a
ridiculous game, Mark. It's like just how annoying can you be in that game?
Oh, I know. I've heard. I watched Hamish's video on it, but it's just so many games I need to pick up. Like I need to pick up that. I need to pick up Metal Wolf Chaos. I need to pick up frickin'
I think you can still get the physical copy of Metal Wolf Chaos for $15. I'm not sure.
I mean, fair. It's the same on Steam, but either way.
Yeah.
Astral Chain, Daemon Ex Machina, the Shadowkeep expansion for Destiny 2 dropped. We also got Shadowbringers for Final Fantasy XIV, which is easily one of the best expansions that they've had so far. And then just today, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries dropped. So that was Robot Shoot is good game so far. Having fun with that one. Oh, right. And then Far Cry New Dawn. That was another one that just came out too.
Well, not to mention the Wolfenstein twin games that came out. Total disappointment.
I've heard a lot of generally disappointing feelings on that. Hey, Jan.
Youngblood. Me.
Have you played Azure Lane Crosswave?
It's out?
In Japan.
Oh. I've seen a bunch about it.
Okay.
And I know it's coming to the States in, I think, either January or February.
Yes. And like they still have it up for pre-order on limited run, which I don't think I need a physical copy of that, but especially not for $100 goddamn dollars.
Yeah.
The limited? No. Well, it does come with a lot of fucking swag, though. So
I don't give a shit. Unless Atago is going to show up at my house and fucking blow me, I'm not spending that fucking money.
fair.
Actually, I probably just needed to say, unless Atago is going to show up at my house, because you and I have both played the game, that's where that would go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sorry for leaving you out of that one, Robert.
Oh, I am so offended, Mark.
Oh, yeah, no, Atago is definitely one of Mark's top waifus from that game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think
all the fucking shit that it comes with is stuff that I wouldn't want in any case.
There you go. So yeah, just
Shimazaki, a Shimakaze figure. Who? Enamel pins of Ayanami and Javelin. No.
It's not Laffy. Don't care.
But yeah, also looking at the list of games for this year, I mean, I didn't play as many this year as I did in past years, but there are a lot of great games. I mean, we do have a lot of games that were released via, crowdfunding this year. I mean, we've had Toe Jam and Earl released.
Mm-hmm.
Indivisible came out finally.
Mm-hmm.
Shenmue 3, came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least 10 games that were crowdfunded released this year.
Oh god, I forgot a Bubsy game came out this year.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I
by the way,
completely forgot about that.
mention real quick that's probably gonna end up in our Santa Hates Us category.
Ooh.
I've played a few games that are going to be in that category. I have not played that one.
Yeah, it's $15. Think of it as Bit Trip, but sucks.
Oh wait, that's right. You know another one that I think everyone forgot about that came out on I think it was in June. Sinking City.
Yeah, that one's definitely that one. Man, I wanted that game to be good, and I just read the reviews, and I was like, the clincher for me was Joel rented it using GameFly, which we discussed earlier, and I was like, "How is it?" And he's like, "It sucks." And this guy loves fucking Cthulhu shit. So if he thinks it sucks, no, thank you.
That's a shame.
That's a shame, man.
Oh, Blair Witch. That's another thing that's installed on my fucking hard drive that I need to fucking play. God damn it.
Not only can you pet the dog, but you can pet the dog with 5 different interactions.
Yeah, but like the dog might die at the end of it, so I'm not super thrilled about that.
Yeah, probably not. But...
Nope. But
Catherine Full Body. That's a game I'm waiting for it to go down in price on.
That I actually had a chance to play this year. Kingdom Hearts 3. Dead or Alive 6.
I heard a lot of different takes on that.
Yeah, it is very.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of different takes on it. Some people really, really loved it. Some people really, really hated it. I played like 70% of the first game, and that was just where I tapped out with Kingdom Hearts.
Fair.
I didn't like the mechanics of it. Like I didn't.
No, it makes sense.
It was not a game that was mechanically entertaining for me. I enjoyed the Winnie the Pooh section, but like the rest of that game just went out of my fucking brain the moment I stopped playing it.
He didn't get a chance to go to meet Ansem and hear him say darkness several thousand times in one speech.
And me.
But, yeah, continuing on, February had a lot of great games. I think that was one of the big months of the year. Crackdown 3 is what came out there. Far Cry came out that year. God Eater, Apex Legends, of course, and Metro Exodus, and probably the one sleeper hit I would have to throw in there is Tetris 99, a game I still play.
I know a lot of people who really like that game. I just can't. I don't like fucking shit where you get knocked out like that. It stresses me out.
Yeah, it's a game I can only play in short bursts. Like I can play it for maybe half hour to an hour at most before I start to get burnt out. But it is an addictive.
Did any of us play Borderlands 3?
No, because I'm waiting for the Steam release.
Okay.
But I might end up getting it on PS4 or Xbox. I don't know. I'm
not going to play it until like it's cheap because I'm just not into the franchise.
I mean, that could change. I mean, I'm still on the fence right now. MechWarrior 5 came out today, and I don't know if I want to allow Epic Game Store on my computer.
I didn't really have a choice. I didn't really have a choice, but I'm playing it. Is
Yeah.
like robot shoot is good money.
But yeah, and then everything continued on. Sekiro came out, and it was a fun game. Yoshi's Crafted World, I've never gotten around to picking up. That looked like fun. Of course, April, the new Mortal Kombat game came out.
Mhm.
Final Fantasy ports galore up the ass. Cuphead.
The port of
Switch
8
nonetheless.
was a big one. The port of 8 was a
Yeah,
big one.
8 was
That
a
hadn't
big
been
deal
re-released in
because,
a while.
and a lot of it was because the original source code from the console version had been lost, and so they had to go back into the PC version to rescale and re-update the original PC version of the source code, and had to completely recode it for console. Which is why it took as long as it did. And then when they did it, they're like, "Oh, by the way, 4K."
Oh God! Did another fucking Steins Gate come out?
Oh yeah. Yep, another Steins Gate came out. Probably a big release that people weren't expecting. Cuphead appearing on the Switch earlier this year. The less we talk about Bubsy, the better.
Oh, it's a remake of the original game. What?
Which one?
Steins Gate Elite.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yep, it's a remake of Steins Gate.
Huh, I'll have to take a look at that then.
Yeah. Put that in the list of shit that I'm fucking, like, I'm just opening links on fucking Wikipedia of stuff that's either going to be on my list or that I need to check out.
Oh, good.
Yep. Also, how about the fact
Disco Elysium is supposedly, like, orgasmic.
Which Elysium?
Disco Elysium.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've heard of that. But yeah, we had a whole bunch of other games, like literally like a bunch of ports coming out, like all the Resident Evil ports, all the fucking Yakuza ports.
The Yakuza ports was a big one to me because they made Kiwami 1 and 2, and then they made all of the stuff that was released on PS3 available. So it's...
And
for me, it was always a question of, like, people would say, like, what Yakuza games do I need to play? And for me, it was always a question of accessibility, like how difficult is it going to be for you to get your hands on this game, and how much you going to actually want to time you going to want to spend playing the fucking thing. But now it's like, fuck, you can get literally every game.
Yep.
So
now,
it's just
what
kind of
about
like,
Judgment? How do you feel about that game?
Did not play it. Hamish said it was very, very good. It will probably, I think, be on his top 10 list this year. But, like, for me, it's kind of like, Kiryu isn't in it. I can wait on it for a little bit, honestly. Oh, God, a fucking Harvest Moon game came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody remembered because Stardew Valley is still a thing that is far better than the one that just came out.
Yep.
Well, like, I appreciate the franchise of Harvest Moon. We aren't really seeing those in the U.S. anymore, but... like, the Natsume developed games are just shit. They're just shit. They're just fucking shit, okay?
Natsume used to make some great games, too.
Well, Natsume didn't really develop any of that shit. Like, that was being developed by Marvelous.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, you keep looking forward. I mean, fighting games weren't really as big of a standout this year as people would have thought. I mean, you had Samurai Showdown, which was actually kind of fun for a while, and then they kept tweaking it, and it just became less fun. It still has a horrible online system, from what I understand.
No, it's been mostly fixed.
Mostly fixed. Did they fix the lobby system? That was my biggest gripe.
People don't play lobby on Samurai Showdown, though. That's the thing. Those people who are still playing it and who are still competitive with it and who are still interested in it do not lobby. They only ranked. Period.
That kills
because
my...
that is how that game is played for the majority of the players who consistently play Samurai Showdown.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. There's a Vampire the Masquerade visual novel coming out tomorrow.
Yep. I heard about that. It doesn't actually look terrible for whatever visual novels are. I mean, it is what it is, I guess, but...
I mean, I like visual novels, so...
So, yeah, just looking down the list, I mean... outside of a shitload of, ports from everything going to the Nintendo Switch.
This is bullshit. What? I saw Project Sakura Wars and I got excited for a second, and then it's like, no, we're just listing the Japanese release date. And fuck you!
Yeah, the game comes out in a week, I think, in Japan.
Yeah, fuck you!
And I'm kind of mad because usually at the same time they also have an English Asia release of it, but nope, they just have They have a Chinese release of it, and that's about it.
No, it's a Southeast Asian release that is in Japanese with Chinese subtitles.
Yeah, usually those Southeast Asian releases have English subtitles, but
English subtitles. Yep.
yeah, but this time
Well, because they're actually bringing it to the U.S., I imagine that.
Yes, it is. It is still scheduled for
Oh,
2020.
Speaking of which, Mark, you're going to be very happy. The English
Why?
patch for Sakura Wars 1 comes out next week, or at the end of December at least.
Tell me once it's actually out, and I can like test it and see if it's like
Well,
broken.
it's been
or whatnot.
tested, so they've been testing it with a lot of
Which
people.
version of Sakura Wars is it for?
The Saturn.
How are we going to play it?
Well,
Emulator.
Oh,
And if
okay.
Saturn emulator.
but I also have pseudo Saturn onto one of my carts, so I can just play CDRs on my Saturn.
I would have I probably would have preferred if they had. I know they did a Dreamcast release for it. Did they do a PS2 release for it?
Yes.
Yes, it was a remake though, kind of like
Yeah.
the same way they did Sakura Wars 5.
Well, I mean that's fine. It's like my thing is just I have a PS2 emulator installed already,
Right.
Yeah.
specifically for the 2 Phantasy Star games that were translated.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like that's literally all I've played.
Fair enough.
Well, it's like, I mean, people are like, oh, I want to emulate this, I want to emulate... No, I'm sorry, I played 3 games. I was like, no. If I want to fucking play a game that came out in Japan, I have a PlayStation that is modded.
Well,
I only played 3 games.
Well, here's
I played
something
3
interesting
games.
you're gonna like. The Polymega coming out in the next 90 days can play Saturn and PlayStation games, or all 3 territories, and you can apply English patches to the games. They showed off them playing Police Knots,
That's cool.
the Saturn version, in Japanese, and then they applied the patch. Like right there through a menu, you can add the patch via like a thumbstick,
Well, that's
which
cool.
is really kind of cool.
That's interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
know there
that's-
was. I didn't know there was a patch for the Saturn version of Police Knots.
Oh yeah, it came out. It took them. They did the PlayStation version about several years ago.
Yeah, Slow Beef specifically did the
Yeah.
translation for that.
And then they just did the Saturn port, I think, within the last couple of years. I actually own a reproduction CD of the game.
Huh, that's cool.
Because I have the emulated PlayStation version of it. I streamed that at one point.
The Saturn version is confirmed the most wanted out of the 3, mainly because it's just a lot more animation in several scenes, extra like scenes in general, more story content.
Yeah, but I mean, like that game, I tapped out halfway through it. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, how long was the game said to have been? Because I know Snatcher can last anywhere between like 10 to 12 hours. If you're
Snatcher is a 12-hour game.
Yeah.
Police Knots is around 20 hours. I want to say.
that would be a stretch, especially since there were parts of Snatcher that really like.
I just tapped out on Police Knots honestly because Snatcher's particular brand of science stupid was enjoyable and entertaining. And like I streamed that for everybody. I streamed that and the first half of Police Knots for my audience. Snatcher, like everybody was invested from beginning to end. Police Knots, like we were like Zeke was actually talking about the stuff, and then we get to the point where they're talking about like the medicine they make. He's like, no, this is fucking bullshit. Get it out of here.
but you can fondle women's breasts in the game. Surely there's appeal there somehow.
Appeal.
What do I look like?
sure.
A
Who
Supreme
cares?
Court justice?
Jesus.
But okay, so something
I could have gone worse. I could have gone worse.
Oh, we know you could have gone worse. I am.
I could have
surprised
said,
at your
"What do I
restraint.
look like? A riot employee?"
Ooh, wow. Fucking controversy there, isn't it? Jesus.
Yes, it is. But something that struck me as odd is actually this year, 3 Atelier games came out in the U.S., which was kind
Yeah,
of.
you are the only person I know who plays those, which is really kind of astonishing.
I was.
Not that well, both that you play them, because like it's anime games of that sort don't necessarily seem like they're your thing, and also because you're the only person I know who plays them, and I know a lot of fucking weebs.
And I can't really call myself a weeb because, quite frankly,
Oh no, you are deeply not a fucking weeb.
Because there's so many anime tropes that in these Atelier games I cannot stand. I am not a fan of the childish lolly that, is just getting into something that's way over their heads, and then, mastering it. And yet something
Hi, Jam.
very compelling about the the alchemy system that they have for every single game, slightly varied and altered, like with every release, is interesting. But for the 3 games that released this year, I mean, we had Atelier Lua, we had Nelki, and the Alchemists of the World. I think I butchered that name, which is actually more of a side story.
Absolutely positive that you have butchered like any of the names of this fucking franchise, because just like the shit that they come up with to name this stuff is just absurd.
Yeah.
It's just absurd.
Actually, the names are pretty pronounceable. It's just that side story game that I got messed up most likely. And then there was Atelier Ryza, which came out this year. And
Atelier Ryza, that's pronounceable.
Yeah. Well, there's Meru, there's Sophie. It's not really that hard to pronounce a lot of these games, to be truthfully honest. Atelier Fierce. But Atelier Ryza is actually a game that I was surprised to be as fucking good as it is. It's probably in terms of character development, it is probably the best in the entire franchise that I have played since Atelier Maruru. Maruru, in terms of gameplay, is still the best in my opinion, mainly because I liked its town building simulator that they had incorporated along with the alchemy system. What I just don't like was the fact that you only had like 20 hours to beat the fucking game because of their countdown clock management system. Atelier Ryza does not have that, which gives the game more of a open, like free roaming pace to how you experience and play the game. And it allows you to actually, focus more on your character interactions while you're, doing your alchemy. And I really like these characters, not just Ryza, who is a flawed but really interesting character, but her teammates, which are fucking phenomenal in my opinion. I actually kind of feel sorry for her one teammate who has an abusive drunk dad who does nothing but lament about how great of a mercenary he used to be back in the day and beats his own fucking son. They just don't show it. So they got some nice character depth to it. RPGs in general, in my opinion, though, in this entire year, I mean, it kind of took a back step in my personal opinion, though. I mean, when I can sit here and gloat about fucking Atelier Ryza, though, I mean, when you have so many other franchises.
Outside of Outer Worlds, I don't think I played any RPGs that came out this year.
Yeah, there's none that's really taken my interest. I mean, sure, they had a re-release of Mario and Luigi in Bowser's Inside Story at the beginning of the year. They had Divinity Original Sin 2 being ported to the Switch. I mean, Monster Hunter World Iceborne came out.
That's not really an RPG.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that
it is
like,
what it is. The concept.
Again, Disco Elysium is supposedly really good. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Sure.
But
Indivisible,
like beyond that, I guess
I haven't played that much of it.
Indivisible? What is that?
That is
it's Lab Zero's sort of love letter to Valkyrie.
Oh
profile.
yeah. I keep meaning to play that, and I haven't.
Yeah.
Other than that, the only other
Pokemon and Outer Worlds, I don't think I played any RPGs this year.
Pretty much. I'm trying to pull up a list.
Yeah, I'm just looking through everything, and there's the Children of Mana, or the collection of Mana that came out, which was nice. Of course, they kind of spoiled that with the hey, we're gonna re-release Trials of Mana next year with a complete, fully from the ground up remake. Which I'm looking forward to.
I mean, I guess you could consider Code Vein a thing.
I would consider that more Dark Souls.
Yeah. Biomutant was a thing that came out as well.
Biomutant?
Also Greedfall. I guess Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 can technically be considered something that would be resembling an RPG.
Oh,
I didn't play that. I know
Departure R just dropped a couple last week.
My friend Sean played the shit out of the Marvel Ultimate game, and he thought it was pretty good.
Paranoia.
I don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody but him who had it. So
yeah, fair. Paranoia Happiness is Mandatory came out.
Yeah, that's on Epic only.
Yep. Children of Morta, that's on Switch. Oninaki, Little Town Hero. The final full release of Fell Seal came out. That's more of a tactics style game, but that was something that came out.
Oh, no, apparently it actually also came out on PS4. I gotta pick that up.
Which one? Fell Seal?
Paranoia.
Paranoia. Oh, okay, cool. I guess there's a couple of other games. One's called Dragon. What is that? Dragon Marked for Death on the Switch.
I want to say that's a remake.
Dragon Marked for Death. It probably is.
Oh wait, no, it didn't. It didn't come out yet.
And then the other one that I was thinking of is, I think it was the one that you were just talking about, was Nelky and the Legendary Alchemists,
Yes.
Outliers of the New World. That was the one you were talking about. Yep.
Wow.
And that's
a side game
that was on Switch.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Well, it's actually
Paranoia Happiness the Mandatory came out in October. I looked at Metacritic to see what the reviews are. There is one review.
Yeah, not a lot of people either knew or cared enough about Paranoia to play it. Because not a lot of people remember about Paranoia, the tabletop game, in the first place.
Well, I mean, considering the shitty fucking history that the game has.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, right, that's right. I don't know if people are super into it, but they did do an HD re-release of Grandia.
Was that this year? I thought it was the end of last year it came out, 1 and 2.
August. On
Wow.
Switch and Windows.
Did you hear me mention the HD re-release of Star Ocean First Departure R?
I've never played a Star Ocean game, and I don't really care to.
Okay.
I played 2. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I thought it was okay, but like I didn't care for it very much.
2, in my opinion, was really a horrible place to start for the franchise if you're getting into it. I played it, and it was really slow-paced. Also, I wasn't ready or aware of the fact that it also has multiple endings that requires a lot of decision-making in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, the fact that you can take certain paths like in Chrono Trigger, but like you actually make just decisions on where to go in the game. The other Star Ocean games are much more interesting in my personal opinion. Star Ocean 5.
96. That explains a lot as to why I just didn't touch it.
What's that?
Well, so the original Star Ocean came out in 96, which is also the same year as Mario 64, Diablo, Mario Kart, Quake, Resident Evil.
Yeah, it was a swan song for the Super Famicom.
Yeah, no, it was... there's a lot of games that came out in 96 that were things that I actually had more interest in that I was playing at that time frame.
I have a English
big reason why,
card downstairs of Star Ocean.
Sure.
Yeah, it should be. I should get around to playing it at some point. I mean, I played it for a little bit on emulator like 15 plus years ago, but I decided, why don't I own the cartridge? It'd be nice. But, enough about lamenting about the games because, I mean, overall, what did you guys think? For games, do you think it was an incredibly solid year? I mean...
That was a damn good year. Damn good year.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Now, last year was considered to be a damn good year as well. How would you compare it?
Equal, I think.
Yeah. I don't think it's really... I think it's been a while since we've even had, like, let's say, back-to-back strong years of gaming like this. I would say the last time was probably during the mid-cycle of both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 was when we
probably.
I mean, that was literally when Sony was like, playing the catch-up game, so they were bringing it out hardcore. Not really, I guess, a whole lot of really shitty games stand out to me. I don't think I actually played a whole lot of shitty games. Mark, you mentioned that you actually have played enough to compile a list.
Yeah, Y2K is a big one for me. That game was fucking dog shit. That game was fucking dog shit, and the guy who wrote it is an asshole. So that's like the perfect fucking storm of fuck you, eat a dick. Your game is terrible, and I hate you. Anthem.
Anthem.
Division 2, a lot of people like the Division 2. I fucking hated that piece of shit. Like that game just fucking I bought that game specifically to play with my friends Joel and Sean, and I played it like 3 times, and then like the third time, just I fucking rage quit. I just couldn't deal with it. It was just pissing me off so much, and I just never turned it on again.
How about you, Jan? Any shit games that stood out for you this year that you had the unfortunate you were unfortunate to play?
That I played? I'd have to look at my Steam list.
Steam list.
Well, it's mostly just because a lot of the games that I play are like I am of the group of gamers who has only just recently been able to start purchasing her own games on her own time with her own money again.
So you're very
over the last couple of years. So I've been very selective about the games that I play. So I tend to not just buy shitty games because they're shitty. Though let us not forget WWE 2K20.
Oh yeah, that fucking piece of shit. I didn't. Oh yeah, I know so many people who fucking hated that goddamn thing.
It's funny too because I was just thinking about it, and then I look back in our chat and I can see that thing, the 2 videos that you had originally posted just from November, the beginning of the month, when we still had those videos in there. Just how actually awful that game looks.
Which game? One more time. I just want to.
WWE 2K20.
Yeah. Bad news. Bad news.
Yeah, that's just a glorious shit show right there, to be truthfully honest. Glorious. So
glorious.
Oh, thanks.
Glorious. You got.
I mean, he got popped for a wellness violation, so we're not going to hear that for a while.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, overall though, this year, strong year in gaming. On the other side of the coin, though, a lot of weird things have been going on in terms of just, the gaming culture. For instance, Microsoft doing this huge power play to get big streamers onto Mixer. Like, hi, Jan. What are your thoughts?
Everything died.
Everything died?
Yeah, apparently. Everything just froze. That was really awesome.
On your computer? What's wrong with your computer?
No, my computer was fine. Everything on your end froze. So, like, the window I had for the 2 of you just stopped functioning. And it's not my system. It's just Discord ate a dick for a second. So I'm like,
I haven't noticed any freezes yet. How about you, Mark?
No.
So,
although I've only been I've been looking more at the chat than I have been at Discord. Though I will note I'm just kind of like going through all the different tabs that I have open, and I forgot I opened up a tab for the Funkoverse strategy game.
All right.
Yep.
I might actually be convinced to spend money on that, because it's like, here's the thing, it's a 4-player game, and I can do up to 5 players here, so it's whatever, I can work with that. But it's okay, so they have DC characters, they have Rick and Morty, they have Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the Golden Girls.
What?
I want to romper stomp somebody as Blanche fucking Devereaux. You do not understand exactly how much of a specific fucking nerd thing that is. That makes me go, oh. Go on.
Go on. I don't know, man. Like, I look at, 2019, I don't know, I guess it's sort of subjective based on who you talk to. Outside of, Anthem and, like, maybe 2K20, I don't know, a lot of people seem to be kind of down on Rage 2. A lot of people seem to be down on Crackdown 3.
I mean, Crackdown 3 and Rage 2, I think, are going to be those kinds of games where it's like, they're not bad, they're just kind of and people have, like, bad reactions to them?
Fuck, okay, I did lie. So here's the deal. So I did actually buy a game that ended up actually being absolute trash. And I'm pretty upset about it. Because I'm usually pretty frugal about the games that I buy. Right. And I'm usually not swayed by reviewers. And most times, I'm usually happy with my purchase. And I'll play it for a while, and then I'll set it to the side and pick it back up later if I feel like playing through it again. But Left Alive is a game that I was
that fucking game.
absolutely excited about, because let's be honest, technically anything that Yoji Shinkawa touches should turn to gold, because his art style is fantastic, right?
Yeah, but he's only a fucking artist, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But, you know, his 3D stuff for Metal Gear and stuff that he had done before with Kojima was great. A lot of the concept that he put together with that team was fantastic. So he got together with some guys and they did some stuff with Square Enix. They made this game that was supposed to be sort of this Metal Gear Solid-esque style of stealth strategy with mechs, and it was supposed to be this really grand adventure. And then I played it, and it took me, I fucking shit you not, it took me 2 hours just to figure out where the fuck I was supposed to go within the very first section of the game, before I died 4 times, got lost 3 times, lost all of my items twice, and then finally found the guy I needed to find, and then realized that, yeah, you don't actually want to use your guns fucking ever, because if you do, well, you're fucked, buddy, because that shit's gonna get you killed real quick. The game is awful. Like, if you thought The Quiet Man was, like, solid shit tier, like, this kind of makes The Quiet Man feel like, you know, polished turds.
I'm gonna have to fucking play that now. I'm gonna have to play that now. Both because I love me some terrible fucking games, and also because I don't think it's as bad as The Quiet Man. Though it did receive generally unfavorable reviews on Metacritic, so that's nice. But yeah, the fucking, as soon as they said, oh, it's set in the Front Mission universe, I was like, yeah, no, this game is garbage.
See, I like the Front Mission universe.
I do too, but here's the thing. They tried before with a non-strategy Front Mission game. Do you remember Front Mission Evolved?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucked. I fucking played that at E3, the year they were fucking hyping that. I played, like, the fucking demo, and I was like, God, this fucking sucks. In the fucking line at E3, I just walked away from the demo thing, and I was like, God, that fucking sucks.
It's awful. I'm out. Shit, what else was out that came out this year? I'm trying to think of this game.
On the plus side, that means that we now have a full list of games to put in the Santa shit in my stocking award.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Division 2 was kind of hyped, but not as good as it probably could have been, and which is sad, because, let's be honest, that definitely could have been a lot better. Oh, right, Team Sonic Racing! Holy shit! That was supposed to be, like, really decent, and it ended up being actual crap.
Yeah, that game did not. Like, I read about that, and it was just like, why couldn't you have just made another fucking Sonic Racing game? Like, that game was great. You know, that game was rad as shit. Why couldn't you have just made that again?
Yeah, exactly. And the other one I was just thinking about was fucking Jump Force. I wanted it to not be shit. And they're like, hey guys, let's do Xenoverse, only with really shitty versions of all of the characters and very limited ways of being able to make this work. And somehow the gameplay really just wasn't as good as it probably could have been. And I know that Daci's watching. I know we played it for a little while and you did, and you enjoyed what you did with it, but I'll be damned if that game was not good. It was not good. The story was convoluted and all over the place, and let me tell you, the basis of where they decided to deal with a lot of that was just why? You have a cavalcade of fucking jump characters that could all be really good in a concept game like this, and you made it worse than what Xenoverse did with Dragon Ball. Like, in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, let's not be wrong, was actually pretty solid for a Dragon Ball fighting game.
Okay. Before we go any further here, I was looking through my Steam library, and I remembered something that I think is very important that we need to discuss.
Okay. What's that?
We all of us have our game of the year, and that's fine. We're not going to highlight our top 10 games of the year. But here's the thing. This is what I need to know from both of you. Where on your top 10 list does I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator fall?
Fuck. I completely forgot that was a thing. Oh shit!
Because for me, it's definitely top 5. It is
Absolutely.
definitely top 5.
Absolutely top 5. I 100% agree. Top 5 at least.
You know what? Since we talked about it in the past, I think and we didn't do it. I think we should definitely start to do like a video package of our runner-ups for Game of the Year, and I would love for Mark to have that as his runner-up.
I don't know if it's going to be number 2 on my list, but it's definitely top 5. It's
for sure.
definitely top 5, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just watching you play that and voice the characters, and just seeing all the awkward situations with
it's
the
pretty
most gorgeous
it's pretty good.
looking Colonel Sanders I've ever seen.
He's so beachy it hurts.
Listen, I am as cis as they come. I am as hetero as they come.
Mm-hmm.
I would fuck that Colonel Sanders. I would absolutely fuck that chicken man. Like, not even Dolph Ziggler dressed up as Colonel Sanders was enough for me. But no, I would fuck that chicken man.
Oh, good. Ah, man. I'm still
everybody.
sort of torn. I'm still sort of torn on what I'm going to do for my fucking Game of the Year. I think that's going to be my biggest issue, is trying to figure out what I would actually say would be my Game of the Year. Because I'm kind of like...
You're torn between I Love You, Colonel Sanders, A Finger Licking Good Dating Simulator, and Monster Hunter Iceborne.
Wow,
Which I can understand. That's a very
solid choice.
That's
yeah,
a solid choice.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. No, because there's like at least 3 games on my list right now that are kind of all like floating at that number 1 point, and I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to lean towards yet. So I'll have to figure that out during the break.
Oh boy. But to continue back onto the topic of just weird gaming, like industry nonsense. I mean, where was I on that? As a matter of fact, I mean, yeah, we've had like some weird stuff this year, like Google Stadia just being announced and then launched within a 6-month period,
and just absolutely shitting the goddamn bed.
Pretty much. Just there's no nicer way for me to say that, to be truthfully honest.
Oh no, that thing shat the bed so hard it shat in its own bed, and it shat in multiple other people's beds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It shat on the bed. It shat on the wall.
There are
on the ceiling.
There are. Yeah. Oh, what a feeling! I just shat right on the ceiling.
Thanks. I hate it.
You don't hate that. That was fucking comedy gold.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was great. I mean, it's literally killing hubs, so that's how that's going right now.
Okay. Keep talking, Mark, please.
No, I figured I'd give you a minute so you don't die over here. But yeah, so the Stadia was a piece of shit. It was just the worst. It was just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Moons of Madness came out this year. Fuck.
Yeah, Moons of Madness.
Oh yeah, you want to go back into terrible video games. I mean,
that game was good. Fuck you.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
Bouncing back a little bit, I can't tell you how extremely disappointed I was with DOA 6. I don't know if I have to mention it a million times.
Oh yeah, we've heard. We have heard.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, man, I was disappointed with that franchise after DOA 4. So the fact that you eventually caught up with me, like,
DOA
2
4
games
was
later.
A disappointment. It was, if you're looking at it as a franchise, I enjoy the franchise as a whole, but the mechanics of 4 were pretty bad in terms of a competitive sense. It was really hard for me to enjoy that game, mainly because it was insanely imbalanced, and it was just literally only 6 viable characters at most for the entire game. 5 brought the series back to kind of like a hybrid of 3 and some brand new mechanics that allowed it to be a really great game, both competitively and casually, and I enjoyed it immensely. 6 decided, hey, you know what? This is backpedaling with new mechanics. Let's do that again and they kind of somehow backpedaled and made this bastard hybrid of 5 and 4, and it does not mesh well whatsoever. I've only managed to find enjoyment when I'm playing with friends and I'm just got no fucks to give.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it was a mechanical piece. It was just a mechanical mess. If you look on Twitter, a lot of my friends in the FGC top level players complain about this game. So
Daily.
yeah,
I know.
so
I see the same threads you do.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it didn't get picked up. There's a reason why it continues not to be very popular, and there's more reasons why a lot of the FGC tends to shit on the game, because it just isn't as good as it really could have been. And at this point, all the information that we've gotten so far as the updates, the updated DLC characters, and the fact that I think they're adding one more after they added.
It's going to be the new character they announced is Rachel. The new character they're adding after her is someone from the.
Well, it's somebody new from Venus.
Yeah, it's going to be one
mobile
of those
game.
Characters, and people are claiming it's going to be the lolly demon. I don't think it is.
The only reason I'm saying that it's probably going to end up being the Oni is specifically because they're not pulling from the console DOA. They're pulling it from the mobile game, and she only exists in the mobile gacha game. Yeah, and the only new character. Right, but it's the same thing. It's the same game. But the mobile game itself, the only new character that they have on that game is that new Oni girl. And so that really leans heavily towards the fact that if they're going to put her in DOA 6, she would be the only character they could pull from that isn't already in the game at this point.
I mean, that's how Lisa ended up in DOA 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it makes sense to me. I'd actually really like to see what style they decide to go with her. Like, she has a couple of different options and would be a reason for me to actually go back and play DOA 6 again. So
of course, however, they did unveil a new character for Venus not too long ago during the DOA festival.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I heard was poorly run as well, to the point where they took all of their top players that they were supposed to stream and they had them play off to the side in favor of people talking on stream and showing off more footage of Venus.
Yep.
Like priorities.
Every time you say Venus, I just imagine for whatever reason.
Oh no!
In one of the other Discords that I'm in, we've been talking about Demolition Man, a lot.
Shit.
And there's this sequence where Sylvester Stallone is running through the parking lot and he's yelling after Simon Phoenix.
Right.
But the way that he says it, he just sounds like he's going, Penis! And every time you say Venus, I just hear Sylvester Stallone going, Penis!
But, yeah, okay, I mean,
I don't know.
That's it. That's all I have to say about Dead or Alive Penis.
For fighting games, it's really a shame.
I mean, that's basically what they should fucking call it, let's be honest.
For what it's worth, like, for fighting game, I don't know, fighting games this year were kind of not as many as we actually would have thought. Like, of all of the fighting games that came out, there are really only two that stand out really well, and that's Smash and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, but Smash came out at the end of last year, so it can't really be in the running. Although some award shows like to consider it in the running.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, like, basically, if we're talking games that just came out this year, then really the only one that a lot of people actually care about or that matter is MK11. Like, that's really where the baseline of fighting really kind of threw down this year, and a lot of people understand that.
You know what? In terms of weird gaming stuff, can't we talk about Death Stranding and how everything surrounding this game and the game itself has just been fucking weird for this entire year? Everything from the gameplay mechanics that they were revealing slowly at the beginning of this year to it actually being released to Geoff's boner of the game and getting it in almost every award category for his award show. And the random Famitsu editor appearing in the game, along with Conan O'Brien.
I mean, Jeff's in the game too, so whatever.
Yeah, it's just like
Um,
everything about this game was just like it didn't even
there's
feel like
so
a gaming event. It just felt like something else on a completely different level.
the game as a baseline has a really, really hard intro curve in that if you're not in it for the long haul, you're not going to make it past the first couple hours of that game. Period. You're just not gonna. Because
I just love the fact that
shit, is it boring?
I just love the fact that Hideo Kojima released a multi-billion-dollar, 60-hour-long AAA walking simulator, and
It's future Uber Eats.
people who would otherwise hate walking simulators are just cranking it to that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't want to. I'll play it at some point. I don't want to spend $60 on it just because, like, from everything that I have heard about it and everyone that I have talked to who has played it, it just sounds like it is the kind of frustrating I don't want to spend $60 on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm glad that it exists, and it just amazes me that it has convinced people who would otherwise be like, man, fuck walking simulators, shit motherfucking suck, are just like jerking it at the idea of,
this game is the best.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a walking simulator, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's great that you like it, but it's a walking simulator.
It's just like I was watching Cat Icarus. He did a video about the game, and it wasn't a review because he said himself he couldn't push himself to play past the first 10 hours of the game because, quite frankly, it just didn't sit well with him. It felt mundane, and it was just a back and forth process with the occasional break of fighting somebody while you're trying to make your delivery.
Well, and like Tara says in chat, like, it's a classic Kojima experience. The gameplay loop at the beginning is a little rough, but the building later and the online community helping each other make the worlds better, and the boss fights are actually pretty neat. Like, if you're not in for the long haul, period, if you are not in for the long haul on this game, you are not going to make it to the first boss fight. You're just not going to. But if you can make it through that point and you get to the point where things literally start opening up and you can actually collaborate and build and put together the zip lines and the roadways and stuff like that, the game is actually really well put together. It's just the introductory experience and the first, like, couple of hours of actual initial starting gameplay is mind-numbingly boring for people that aren't really in it to do more than just the first couple of hours.
Yeah, like,
and it's sad because you have this weird drop-off point where you can tell how far someone's willing to actually go in that game up to a specific point before they finally are either going to go, yep, I'm going to keep playing, or fuck this game, I'm getting my money back. So, I don't know, it's just sort of how the game ended up playing out. Like, it's not bad, per se. I don't know that it's really worth mentioning the fact that it's in almost every single award category at the Game Awards on Thursday, but there are games that are on that list. Like, if I, like, okay, so just as a baseline, if I'm going to look at, and this is a bit of an aside, but if I look at the Game of the Year contenders, the nominees for the Game Awards on Thursday, the Game of the Year games are Control by Remedy and 505, RE2 Remake, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Sekiro, Death Stranding, and The Outer Worlds. Of those 6 games, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 that I have personally played, 1 that I have seen played, and 1 that I completely fucking forgot even exists. And
Control.
of the games, Control. I didn't even know that was a game. Like, I knew about it, but then I completely forgot about it because I just didn't care. I mean, not to say that it's bad. It looks relatively decent. I just didn't care. But out of the games that I have played and the games that are on that list, there are only 2 that I honestly feel deserve that category overall compared to the rest of the games on that. And that's Sekiro and Outer Worlds. So, to me, that feels like the fact that, A, we already know that Keely's, like, on Kojima's dick, like, God knows what. But there are plenty of other games that are in the other categories as well. Like, I can go through and look at, I don't know, Narrative. You've got games like... So the narrative category is Control, Disco Elysium, Death Stranding, The Outer Worlds, and A Plague Tale: Innocence. Again, there are at least 2 or 3 games on this list that I personally feel should actually be the winner for that, but it'll probably end up being Death Stranding. So the fact that you have 2 people on the list for performances from the same game, Norman Reedus and Matt Mikkelsen for Death Stranding, again, there's just this overarching ideal of, because it's not an ongoing game, a multiplayer game, or an RPG game that could technically win that category, yeah. I don't understand why it's in a lot of those categories. So it puts down this idea of the game itself is great. Like, it is. Like, there is no doubt about it that Death Stranding has a very solid foundation. It plays well. It looks beautiful. And if you're in it for the long haul, is something that's going to be worthwhile. But the baseline is, I don't know that it deserves as much accolade as it's been getting from specific people. And that's really, like, that's the question. It's just like, is it really as good as everyone says it is? Sure, probably. Is it really as good as what Jeff Keighley says? Probably not.
Speaking of the Game Awards show happening in a couple of days, though, I mean, anybody even interested, especially after last year? It had the highest production value I think it's had in years. It ran well. The problem was that literally he blitzkrieged through a lot of the awards in favor of just nothing but reveals. And again, they're saying there's going to be 10 games revealed at this award show. So
we already know one of them. Like, we already know what one of them is. So, like, they've already, like, Sony today during the State of Play confirmed that the full release trailer for Ghost of Tsushima will be at the Game Awards. So we already know that at least one of those reveals is going to be Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, like, what he's done... Okay, so I'm simply just going to leave it at this. Yes, I'm going to co-stream it. I'm going to do it because there's no reason for me not to, because I want to do the same thing I did last year. I want to watch it. I want to react to it. And I want to see what he has to do.
Right.
The fact that he has had an entire category created specifically to ask the people who are watching the Game Awards 2019 what their favorite Game Awards year was from 15 to 18. So we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So 5. So we have 5 years of other Game Awards that he's basically asked the fans to vote on what they felt was their favorite year for the Game Awards. Has got to tell you something. Like
this man can't seem to find a format that works or appeases people, apparently. I mean, it's either one year you're nothing but all about commercialization and selling out to Doritos and Mountain Dew. The next year, you're just doing nothing but selling out to be a award show or an episode of game trailers from G4 masquerading as an award show.
I mean, I reveals and trailers have a place in a society of gaming. Like, as the award shows from the past, if we go back to 2010, 2009, 2008, when G4 was still hosting video game awards, and it was a big deal, and reveals were still a part of it, that's just the nature of what video game award shows have become. It's not just about the awards. Whatever, you didn't talk, Jeff. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's fucking funny.
Yeah. You're goddamn right.
But the baseline is that Jeff Keighley likes to hear himself talk so fucking much that it doesn't matter because it's his fucking show and he gets to run it however the fuck he wants to. The problem is that most people aren't really interested in the awards. They're interested in it basically being E3 and CES Lite. They want reviews, they want trailers, they want news, they want something that can be consumed in a content-rich environment that accolades what they enjoy and shows off what they want to see. And the problem is trying to find a balance for that. Once a year, probably not enough. Once a week, probably too much, because you run out of content. So you have to find a way to fill that void. So the problem is that what Jeff is trying to do with the Game Awards is he's trying to fill that void, because we've already had E3, we've already had TGS, and now we're closing at the end of the year. What else do we have to look forward to? Because PAX is done. And PAX is not just about video games anymore. It's about pop culture and content in generality of the sense.
Yep.
So you've got a lot more people showing up to PAX that are more into D&D and tabletop and physical games than they are video games, as the show used to be about. While they still exist at PAX, it's not as prevalent as it has been in years past.
To the extent that they've actually started running like an actual just tabletop version of PAX.
Yeah, the tabletop version actually, I think, runs in Philly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
My players were actually asking me if I was thinking about attending that, and I was just like, I don't have the fucking money for that shit.
That's expensive, though. But like, so much to the fact that like PAX as a baseline has become more about like what you get from things like Critical Role, the Adventure Zone, like the people that have created D&D podcast adventures are now hosting events at PAX live for the audience. And you've got people like fucking Xavier Woods showing up and role playing with these other personalities and voice actors who make these amazing stories happen on these long shows, because this is what they do with their lives now. This is the side projects that they have that have become more than just side projects, and it's crazy that they've become as popular as they have, but is a way of being able to entertain people and to bring people together. The issue with something with what like Jeff is doing, though, is that he's taking a specific format, a specific medium, and he's trying to alkalate everything while still being able to show off what people are anticipating going into the next year and so on and so forth. So, you look at what he's doing, and while the idea on paper is not bad and has merit, the way he specifically does things needs to be tweaked, because obviously there's a lot more to it than just Jeff talking and awards being given out and trailers. It's a matter of finding that balance, and it's really difficult for Jeff specifically to find that balance because he obviously has his bias. Like, he just does. But in order for us to be able to enjoy the baseline of what we're expecting, like, people speculate, okay, this is what we expect to see. These are the games that we've been waiting to hear things about. Obviously, you could strike RE3 off the list because that got announced at State of Play. We know Ghost of Tsushima is finally going to be announced, so we're going to get that trailer, so we know that's happening, because that was confirmed, again, by Sony. You can scratch off a couple of specific indie titles. You can scratch off a couple of big names because they already got announced previously to the actual award show. But there are other games that maybe we have completely forgotten about because they were announced a year and a half ago and we haven't heard a single thing about them.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Elder Scrolls 6 made a showing, to be truthfully honest. Especially since Bethesda revealed it last year.
Well, the last time we heard anything about it was E3 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, and
maybe?
Skyrim back in 2008 or 2009 was revealed at the Game Awards show before its release in 2011. And it's really hard to believe it's been fucking almost 9 or 8 years since that game's release.
I was looking at something just recently. I'm trying to see if I can pull it back up. like if I were to actually look at a list, just and I'm obviously this list is not going to cover everything, but if I were to look at, say, the top, I don't know, 10 games of the last decade, games that you wouldn't have even thought about have been out for a lot longer than you probably think. Like,
Sorry, I had to step away for a second, but regarding Skyrim, because they keep fucking re-releasing it.
yeah, that's true. But like, if you were to think about this, like, and again, because we're going all the way back to 2010, yes, it's been that long. So games that came out at the beginning of this decade versus games that came out at the end of this decade, and remembering that, oh right, that came out in this decade. Like the original Red Dead Redemption on Xbox 360 came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty came out in 2010. Speaking of the re-release, yes, Skyrim on Xbox 360, 2011. The Last of Us, the original version on PS3, and the remaster were 2013 and 2014. Grand Theft Auto 5 has been out since 2014. Like that's how long that game has been out. You know, Portal 2 came out in this decade. It released in 2010 and 2011 for PC and for consoles. Street Fighter 4 came out in 2010. Undertale came out in 2015. The original Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii came out in 2012. Overwatch came out in 2016. Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U came out on 2014. So, like, there are a ton of really solid, very amazing games that have come out in the last 10, 9-10 years, baseline, that we may not have even remembered that don't feel as old as they are, but are a lot older than we remember. Like, I'm pretty sure that both Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 both came out in this decade.
Yeah.
Like, I think 2 was 2010, and I think 3 was 2012.
God, has it really been that long?
Yeah,
But enough
it's been that
dwindling
long.
on the past, even though that's what we're doing for this year. I would have to say we're going to have to wrap this up in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But, I mean, yeah, we had some. The Game Award show is really not something I'm looking forward to, although I am going to tune in to see it. How about this being a big year for Nintendo in general? Hey, Kitty.
Absolutely.
For a big year, not just for the fact that they just got a shitload of games released for the Switch this year. They released the Switch Lite, although I would have to say that there are certain hardware features of the system not being included, kind of takes away the Switch element. Nintendo adding more support for their Plus, their Nintendo Network support. Like, they just added a whole bunch of new games this past couple of weeks. Some really big titles too. I mean, I was not expecting to see Illusion of Gaia on there anytime soon, which was kind of a shock. Or was it Illusion of Gaia? Actually, I can't remember. I'll have to look up the list some other time. Other interesting things I find was the fact that this whole year was the saga of, the background characters. We had the Polymega, which I briefly mentioned earlier, with how it had strong numbers with supporting their Kickstarter last September, allowing it to go into production, but they've had issues. Like, this whole year has been a fiasco because they been waiting on a specific chip from Intel, which was out of stock or out of production, or I forget what the main problem was, but there was a massive shortage and they weren't able to get it. And it sounds like they were finally able to get, in just the past couple of months, a different chipset, and they had to do some trial production runs of the hardware, and they've been doing all kinds of stuff. Like they're really impressing with what the hardware can do. The fact that it now emulates Sega Saturn games, which is something people weren't expecting, that was announced earlier the year. The fact that they're going to be releasing an HD compatible light gun, so you can finally play all your games.
I mean, I can play Lethal Enforcers again? Holy shit.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yep, an HD compatible light gun for your games from Duck Hunt to Virtua Cop to Time Crisis.
Wow, damn.
So that is something that's really interesting. It's really a promising thing, but the biggest problem I have with the Polymega team is that their PR crew sucks at their job.
Probably.
The long periods of no communication whatsoever really allowed a lot of their fans to back out and be like, you know what, I'm gonna hold on to my money now, dude. You made me wait too long for your information, and that is absolutely warranted, because you cannot go almost 3 to 4 months at a time without communicating with your consumers, and it's just a horrible way to do things. Other things that have been going on, I mean, this is news recently, but I mean, literally the whole year, the Atari VCS has been quiet this whole year, and it's just all of a sudden, hey, look, we got pictures up of the system finally going in production. Woo, nobody cares.
Yeah.
The other thing, however, which has been making a lot more waves, probably not as big as the creators would hope, it's the Intellivision Amico. And Tommy Tallarico, yo, man, you're brilliant music composer. You're not really a businessman, although you have dabbled a lot in the past in regards to everything from, G4 to the award shows and everything else in between that we know you're buddy with Jeff. And what they're trying to do, just in my personal opinion, does not really appease me. I don't think it's going to appease the casual crowd. They're trying to target the demographic of what the original Nintendo Wii was going for. Just the people who aren't really gamers. Go out there and sell 150 million units. It's not going to happen a second time. I mean, there are people who I know who are still playing the original Nintendo Wii. So
I still have people that still own and still play their Saturn and Dreamcast systems. So
yeah, I mean,
I just bought an HDMI adapter for my Dreamcast.
Yeah, like that's subjective. I feel like nostalgia is nostalgia for a reason, and I feel like people trying to come back in and try to create something that can, like the one you were talking about earlier, the all-in-one is great. Like, I don't have a problem with that system, but if you're going to try to emulate, or you're trying not even emulate, but you're trying to recreate a system, like one single specific system that is specific to an era of gaming in general that, let's be real honest, was stigmatized quite heavily compared to what it is now. I don't really feel like that's a good idea. It's not a good marketing toy. It's not a good solid choice in terms of your decision-making process. The NES and the SNES Classic, hell, the Genesis Mini, really good ideas.
The upcoming
really well played.
Mini.
Nobody cares.
I care. Fuck you.
You and like maybe 5 other people. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the TurboGrafx 16 had a solid like concept in terms of the hardware that it offered. The Neo Geo did it better. And that's a big reason why the Neo Geo and SNK still exist.
Honestly, it was a souped up 8-bit system, to be brutally honest.
Oh, absolutely. It was basically a 16-bit system that could play 8-bit style. And it was a system that meant that it made sense for the era. Doesn't make sense as a retro console.
No. Well,
but when you really boil it down, like I said,
great games, but
oh no, I don't doubt that, and I can certainly look at the library and see there's plenty of games on that system that I was like, oh, I totally forgot that existed. That's probably why I don't remember that it existed, because it only was on that system. But like at a base point, there was a movement that occurred around that same time with console gaming and arcade gaming in general, where getting a game that was arcade perfect on a system at home made more sense to people at the time because that was the experience they were trying to bring home. And the TurboGrafx 16 basically tried to take that sidestep of, and it didn't really work out that well. And that's a big reason why a retro TurboGrafx 16 console, to me and to a large number of people that I know, are just like, oh, that's a thing? I didn't know, and don't really care about it.
I still have the TurboGrafx 16 Mini pre-ordered, though.
Same here. But
have you seen the fucking list of games that's fucking coming with that thing?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh, God.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Link?
60 games.
Wow.
54. Well, it's 60 total. It's 54 per region. But it's Air Zonk, Alien Crush, Blazing Lasers, 3 different Bombermans, 2 Bonks games, fucking Rondo of Blood, Choaniki, which, really?
No!
Yes!
Ah! No!
Yes, and it's the CD Engine version.
Oh, that's even worse!
So you get to see their fucking flexing pectoral. Oh my god.
That game was great.
I just asked a couple of my friends, "Hey, who should I nominate for fucking personality of the year, online personality of the year?" And he said, "Pro Jared."
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm real happy that they're going to include the Dungeon Explorer games.
Oh yeah, Dungeon Explorer is fucking rad as shit.
And
I love that game.
Newtopia.
Fantasy Zone, which is astonishing.
Wow.
They're fucking releasing one of those on there.
Yeah.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
Splatterhouse.
Yes, Splatterhouse is on there. Yes, Splatterhouse is absolutely on there. Gradius, JJ and Jeff, Lords of Thunder. That was like one of the games to own if you had a fucking, what's it called? Both Newtopias, New Adventure Island, Ninja Gaiden. I don't remember. Was that the fucking beat 'em up version that they had on the fucking TurboGrafx 16? I feel like it was.
Yes, it was, because that was the arcade version. The arcade version Ninja Gaiden was a beat 'em up.
Yeah, which is it's not great, but it's definitely something to be like, sure, I'll play that. R-Type, Salamander, Snatcher. Snatcher is going to be on the fucking TurboGrafx 16 Mini in the United States.
Get out.
That's amazing. Swear to God, I'm fucking looking at it right now.
That's kind of amazing.
The PC Engine version, which is just like, I know they're not going to have the fucking dubs, and that's disappointing because I love the fucking Gillian Seed dub, but I don't fucking care. It's $100 for a thing that's going to have an English translated version of Snatcher on it. Yeah, I fucking just ripped my pants.
Like, legitimately, you just did that.
My penis just fucking ripped out of my fucking pants right now.
Good. It needs to. That's
fucking
good.
Splatterhouse, Space Harrier, one of the fucking Parodius games.
Okay.
Super Darius, Superstar Soldier,
Tokimeki.
Oh, wait, no, this is only Japan. Tokimeki Memorial. God damn it.
Fucking, I'm getting that version then. Holy shit. That'd be great.
Yeah, so Japan does not get Salamander or they also don't get the TurboGrafx 16 version of Splatterhouse. They get the PC Engine version of Splatterhouse, which I'm guessing that there's a violence difference.
Most likely.
And we do not get Tokimeki Memorial or Tengai Miyako Majin Maru.
Oh. That's actually a disappointment.
We get Valkyrie Densets.
Okay.
East Books 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Victory Run.
Mm-hmm.
Super Momotaro Densets 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just so much fucking shit that you're like 60% of this I never want to fucking see. I don't care about it. It doesn't fucking matter. 40% of it is just like, I need to have this. Like, I need to fucking file this thing down and just shove it up my own fucking ass.
Oh boy. But back to the topic of conversation in regards to all these...
Snatcher, motherfucker! Snatcher!
That's pretty much a good point.
Your fucking argument is invalid.
That's a good point to end
the
on.
show right here.
we're gonna end on TurboGrafx 16 Mini Snatcher.
Yep.
Buy a fucking TurboGrafx 16 Mini. It comes with fucking Snatcher.
The best advertisement you can get for it ever.
Oh boy.
Listen, Konami. Konami, listen. You've done a lot of horrible shit in the past few years. You ruined fucking Silent Hill. You ruined fucking Contra. You ruined fucking Metal Gear. You made Hideo Kojima make a fucking walking simulator with Norman Reedus' dick in it.
And Monster Energy.
And Monster Energy, and he pees grenades. You have ruined so much of gaming. I will forgive you for all of it if you give me a fucking English translated version of Snatcher. Clean fucking slate. We will 100% we will be copacetic, okay? That is how much of a fucking easy whore I am. You give me fucking Snatcher, and just all of my hate for you will go away. Until you fuck up again. Like, this isn't a permanent get out of jail free. It just erases everything you have done.
I don't know, man.
Oh boy.
That's a good lineup. That's a really good lineup. I think like if we're gonna have a contender for this is going to be the best retro console out of all of the retro consoles that could probably dethrone the Genesis Mini, it would probably be the TurboGrafx 16 Mini at this point.
Oh yeah, the Genesis Mini was still rad as shit. Like,
absolutely.
I still have that little bastard hooked up. I'm still annoyed that there's like 3 6-button games on it, and that they came with a 3-button controller. But
$20 gets
otherwise
you
it's
6
great.
button. It's really not that big of a deal. But yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking buy one of those things.
Oh no, I wouldn't assume.
Like, listen. The only game on there that I would play is fucking Eternal Champions, and frankly, I'd sooner just emulate the Sega CD.
The Sega CD version is a great game.
It is.
Absolutely.
The Genesis, I hate the goddamn game because I can't fucking beat it.
Oh, sorry.
I beat the Genesis version. Version.
It's rough.
I can't fucking beat the Sega CD version.
It's rough.
The Dark Champion is bullshit.
It is not easy. It is not easy. I remember it.
All right. Well, we had a lot of fun. We're going to end this on a high note. Mark, say it one more time.
Fucking buy a fucking TurboGrafx 16 Mini. It has fucking Snatcher on it. Konami, if you give me a fucking English translated version of Snatcher, I will suck your dick.
For like a couple of weeks until you decide to shit on people again.
Yep.
No, like I just need them to fucking like staple a fucking like a dildo to the front of the fucking building. I will suck the fucking building's dick. I do not fucking care.
Good night, everybody.
That's actually where we're going to end this. Holy crap.
Oh, that was great.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh, boy, let me tell you, that was
something, good. I'll tell you right now.
That was good. Oh, hey, Sam, and I'm glad you could join us at the end of the show where Mark's talking about sucking Konami's dick off their building. I'm glad you joined for that.
It's a glorious time. That is for damn sure. Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Well, with that, I'm going to say, y'all, thank you for tuning in for the final episode of 2019. We're off on winter break. We might play games every Tuesday leading up to the new year and to the GVN Live Awards show.
It's all we needed. Good.
It is all you needed because there's no way we're going to top that. So that's why we might as well end the show now. So thank you guys. Have yourself a good night. See you in 2020.
See you guys.